The snow became worse by the day, causing further hardship on the townspeople's daily lives. Maybe this was a curse by the witch. Someone suggested that after remembering the old fairy tale. Of course, it was just a joke. It was supposed to be a joke, but the words dropped worry into the people's hearts. That single droplet created ripples, soon turning into a dark stain and causing people to believe in those fairy tales. One after the other.
Say, did you hear? This year's blizzard is caused by the witch.
It's abnormal for winter to continue for this long. It wouldn't happen if it weren't for the witch. The witch.
Milady, I'm terribly sorry. I've spoken too much.
Is he not home yet?
Yes, the master has not returned.
I see. Maybe he's gone to see Arya, ignoring his own children. Milady! Never mind. You may go. I will need to leave the manor for a little while. Yes, milady.
Oh, Francisca.
Yes. It's all the witch's fault. Because of the witch,
Francisca was also one of them. She believed in the witch. No, she wanted to blame the witch. She wanted to think that her situation was caused by the doings of a witch.
Witch?
Huh?
A young boy stood right next to Francisca. He looked so thin that he would collapse at any moment. His father hurriedly came over to pick up the boy.
I'm sorry for my son's insolence.
Wait.
The father bowed and was prepared to leave, but Francisca stopped him.
I recognize you. Aren't you a craftsman patronized by Arya?
It's an honor for you to remember someone like me.
Is your son going to be all right?
I'm ashamed to say this, but I cannot afford to feed him well. There's no work with this snow. I don't know how I'm going to raise him.
Uh-huh. So you must also be tormented by the witch.
Please, don't say things like that. Witches don't exist.
They do.
That woman was a witch. Francisca held back her impulse to say that. If she said that out loud, her brother would despise her for it. Right. This face. She could not say it herself. She only needed someone else to say it for her. This man might know something, she thought.
They exist. They are just in hiding. They could be very close to you.
Please stop. That's sending chills up my spine.
Witches have red eyes, but they usually keep them hidden. Haven't you seen someone like that before?
Witch? Dad, what's a witch?
Shh! You shut up! Don't say anything!
So many people are suffering because of the witch. It's not just you. It's the entire town. Once the witch is dead, we'll all be much better off.
I don't know of any witch.
If only there was someone who knew of where this witch was. If only there was someone who would kill the witch. If there was a person like that, I would thank them handsomely, as the daughter of the hawks and the wife of the wolves.
Thank?
That child knows little of such matters, so I suppose I couldn't expect any better, but I'm different. Whether it is money, food, a home to shield him from the cold, or even a warm blanket, I can give him anything within my power. Because that man would be the hero who saved the town. Heavens. I wish there was someone like that. Someone who knows the witch and is brave enough to kill them.
You mean...
What's that? I can't hear you.
Madame Arya said that she was a witch.
Oh my! Is that true?
My son heard her say it.
What a predicament! The townsfolk must be notified about this. Oh, but one must be careful, as this has to be kept silent from the witch. I'll pretend I didn't hear a thing. And I'm sorry. This is all I have right now, but use this to buy something for your son to eat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, and I'll just be talking to myself for a little while, so don't mind me. In the very near future, the household of the Hawk clan will be empty aside from the witch. She is pregnant with a child and cannot move about.
Just as Francisca prophesied, Olgar had gone away on the day Arya was about to give birth. To pick flowers.
Snowdrops. Why?
Brother, you're quite oblivious to things of this nature. Snowdrops are flowers to celebrate the birth of a child.
Oh, then I'll send a servant out too.
No, they must be flowers picked by the father. Otherwise, misfortune will befall the child instead.
I can't leave Arya here.
It's all right. You may be a bit worried, but Arya loves snowdrops, and if she knows that you are the one who picked them, I'm sure she'll be overjoyed.
I see. Did he do it for you too?
He?
Apris. When your child was born, did he also do this?
Yes, of course.
I see. Then as a parent, I must not lose to the likes of him.
He would never do such a thing.
The snowfall was heavy. Not heavy enough to put out the flames of jealousy. Bonfires surrounded the manor where Arya was alone.
This is where the witch is.
The witch can't fight back right now.
The snow is caused by the witch. Then, if we kill the witch...
Kill the witch. Kill the witch.
Kill the witch! Kill the witch! A whisper gradually turned into a chant shared among the crowd. The manor was then set on fire. The old manor went up in flames instantly. Poor Arya.
I have to run away. I have to protect my child. Huh? No. Why now?
Arya tried to drag her heavy body to escape from the fire, but she realized she was going into labor. While surrounded by the flames, she gave birth to a girl. What a boss. Gives birth not only alone, but in a burning manor.
Please don't cry. Are you scared? I'm sure you are. I am too. You must have been born to give me courage because you thought that I would be scared to be on my own. Thank you, my kind child. You are just as kind as my love. I'm sorry. But he will soon. So please don't cry. Yes. This is my most prized treasure. A pendant he gave me. Isn't it beautiful? Thank goodness. You finally stopped crying. But I hope only you. Very well. I'll take that child from you. It's brother's child, after all. Or should I say it is Apris's? I don't care either way.
Francisca?
You will die here, burned alive as the witch. This is a fitting end for you after you have taken away my brother and my love from me.
Francisca?
What is it? Are you going to beg for your life?
Please take care of her. Her name is Air. Please give her happiness.
Why are you always so...
It's something I cannot do. Thank goodness. Now I can.
Soon after, the manor crumbled away, burying the witch that was Arya along with it. The flames soon subsided once everything in the manor was burned down, but the ashes continued to dance like the snow, until Olgar returned.
What is this?
When Olgar returned, he didn't believe what he saw before his eyes. The smell of charred remains, a trampled garden, and a scene covered in ash and snow. The snowdrops he brought back fell to the ground over the ash. The pure white petals scattered at his feet, instantly being buried under the ashes and snow.
Where is Arya?
He stumbled closer, approaching the burned manor. He dug through the smoking black rubble.
Arya! Arya!
His hands turned black with soot, then red from the burns. And with his red and black hands he continued to dig, even after his nails split and his skin was torn raw. And he finally found her, a single hand sticking out of the rubble of a roof beam. It was the charred hand of his beloved wife.
Arya!
He tried to get her out from under there by grabbing at her hand, but it crumbled away, leaving nothing behind in Olgar's hand.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Poor Olgar. Every time. It hurts. That night, the townspeople who set fire to Arya's manor huddled at the church. It was as if they tried to console each other for the sins they had committed.
We killed her. We killed the witch.
Now we can be saved. We and the town.
The snow should stop by tomorrow. When that happens...
Was she really the witch?
Hey! It's just strange. If she was the witch, how was it so easy? Watch your mouth! That woman was a witch! She had to be!
Yeah, we killed the witch for the sake of this town. Right. I guess this is for the best.
The church door opened quietly. The townsfolk were too engrossed in their conversation to have noticed the figure enter. The cold draft flowing in from the ajar door finally made one of them turn to look.
What the... Why is there wind?
Huh? Olgar stood right in front of him with an unsheathed sword, right when their eyes met. First. A woman that was about to scream had her throat slit open. Second.
You're the hawk! Ah!
Third.
No! We only killed the witch! Ah!
Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Seventh. The light from the stained glass window shone on the blood-red sword while he continued to take lives. In only a few minutes, the church floor was covered in piles of bloody corpses. Olgar continued on and pointed the tip of his sword at the last man remaining.
We had no choice.
The man didn't beg for forgiveness, nor showed any fear. He simply mumbled flatly.
Why did you call Arya a witch?
Your sister told us to go after her.
Surprise and sadness. They mixed together and turned into hatred. Olgar swung his sword. Possibly from his emotions being thrown into confusion, he cut deep into the man's neck but was unable to instantly kill him. It took another few minutes for the man to die, all the while writhing in pain.
Luke.
As if seeking retribution, he reached for the soft glow from the stained glass window. Soon the man passed. Silence returned to the blood-stained church. Olgar never even looked at the man writhing in pain.
Francisca did this. My sister, Francisca, betrayed me. Arya,
Olgar's hollow gaze soon focused on the Kaleidovia. Someone once described the Kaleidovia,
Psychedelica.
the intermediate world between the world of the living and the dead, a place where you could meet ones who had passed.
I want to see her again, if I only could.
Olgar reached for the Kaleidovia. That day, the snow was much lighter. That's why Apris was able to walk around town aimlessly. Night fell, and he incidentally learned of the 2 incidents that happened.
Is that true? Yes. The manor of the Hawk Lord has been burned to the ground. Are they safe? Where are Olgar and Arya? Madam Arya is still missing. And Sir Olgar is... What about Olgar? Tell me! He has committed mass murder at the church. There were many people thought to have set fire to his manor.
Upon hearing that, Apris ran off. Where had Olgar gone? He first checked the church. Along the way, he meets his wife.
Oh my, are you walking about? Francisca, what are you doing here at this hour?
He realized that there was an infant in his wife's arms.
Whose child is that?
She simply smiled and did not answer.
It appears to be a newborn. Is that child?
He realized it. He knew whose child that was, and what his wife had just done.
I had no choice.
His wife was still smiling with tears flowing from her eyes.
If she vanished, you and brother would return to me. We'll talk about this later.
Apris left. He ran from his wife to chase after Olgar, and I don't blame him when she had that kind of look on her face.
You're leaving me? After seeing me like this, you still... Oh!
The bystanders and the corpses were already gone from the church. All that was left was the stench of death and bloodstains. Everyone moves fast in this town. There were blood splatters even outside the church. The light snow was unable to hide it all. The trail of blood continued to the forest. The line soon narrowed, and all that was left were red foot tracks.
This is...
Apris continued to follow the tracks deeper into the forest. He soon arrived at an old tower. Who built it? When and for what? The tracks led to inside the tower.
Is Olga inside there?
Apris climbed the tower. Thoughts came to him as he climbed. What was he supposed to do after seeing him? What was he supposed to say? What should he say to Olgar now? He didn't know. There was no way he would know, but with each step he approached the top. Olgar was there, holding onto the Kaleidovia and a sword covered in blood.
Apris.
Olga, why would you do this?
Ask your wife.
She's your sister!
That woman is no longer my sister. My sister would never do such a thing.
Why? How did this happen? The four of us were so happy together.
All I wanted was Arya's happiness. I wanted to see the future we would build together.
Was it a mistake that I married? Is that why it all went to hell? Everything.
If you interfere, I'll kill you too.
Is this the end? We can't have a wish for that happiness with the four of us.
It's your fault for letting that woman run free!
Olga!
He deflected Olgar's strikes 3 times. Olgar was stronger with the sword, but he could only fight with one hand because the other held onto the Kaleidovia. Apris swung his sword as a means of diversion, but it stuck Olgar in the face.
Gah!
Olgar's right eye was cut through. He slashed his best friend. It caused a moment of hesitation. Olgar struck back, and he could not evade it.
Oh!
Gah!
His right eye was gouged, coincidentally, in the same spot. He lost his balance and fell backwards.
No!
His legs flew up and his body dropped. They were on the edge of the tower with no footing. He fell, upside down. Was he going to die there? Was he going to lose everything? His crazed best friend. His wife, whom he could not love. His own children. Was he about to lose everything? If only time could be turned back, to where he had forgotten everything and was back to the four of them living their happy lives. He reached out and saw a ring with the motif of a beast. That token of friendship glowed as if it reacted to something.
Olga.
Filled with regret, Apris's body was shaken by a powerful impact. And then everything ended. It's interesting that he says, like, he had a wife whom he could not love. So why did he flirt with her and go through with marrying her? Did he do it for Arya's sake as well? Did he love Arya? Was that a thing? Is that why he's drawn to Jed? I just don't know. I have no idea. Apris vanished, and Olgar heard the sound of his body slamming onto the ground.
Now, all who interfere with me are gone.
He felt no sentiment at the loss of his friend. All that remained was his love for his late wife.
Kaleidovia, let me meet the dead. Bring Arya back to life to me!
The Kaleidovia gave off a soft glow as if reacting to Olgar's tenacity. A mist started to flow, slowly thickening into a fog. The thick fog born from the darkness of the night bars his sight. But that was it. His love didn't return. The dead did not come back to life. The Kaleidovia was missing the 4 jewels that it was meant to have. Those were the jewels that had been shared among them. Of course, Olgar wouldn't know any better that the Kaleidovia needed those jewels.
It was nothing but a fairy tale. Arya,
Thrown into despair, the Kaleidovia fell from Olgar's hands. It clanked onto the ground and rolled out of the tower. Olgar did not hear those sounds. The man was left with a hole in his heart, and with a hollow gaze he left the tower. From that day on, the town was covered in a fog that would never lift. It ever so slowly and gently erased the memories of the people, turning the town into one that would eventually sink into death. The end.
What?
The images stopped. They were visions of the past shown by the magical stones.
What was that? Ashen hawks? No, Apris's past. And that baby was me?
This could be... No, it must be the truth. That was what my intuition tells me. Everyone in the room began to murmur all at once.
That's right. I just remembered. They all died that day. The witch and the ones who killed her.
how did I forget?
But the witch's daughter is still...
I knew nothing of this, but to them, they had seen it all before. And that went for these two, too.
This is what I had forgotten.
Why are you alive? You died that day.
The lunacy in Olgar's eyes had lightened. His semblance to his old self that we had just seen seemed to be back.
You probably don't realize it yet.
Hugh spoke in a way that everyone in the area could hear.
This is your... No. This is the Psychedelica created by you and Apris.
This place.
Yes, this whole town. It has become an intermediate world between life and death ever since that moment. But there was only one magical stone, so it became a shallow, incomplete, and unstable world.
The murmurs grew larger. Hugh spoke even louder in response to those murmurs.
Didn't you think it was strange? This town has been covered in the fog ever since that incident. You've never seen the sun since. And why is that? No one thought of it as strange.
He paused, as if enjoying the sight of the confused people.
If this is the intermediate world between life and death, it would all make sense. In other words, you're already dead. Even after killing the witch, it never stopped snowing. The entire town was crushed underneath all the snow, people and all.
The murmurs turned into shouts.
That's crazy! How could the town be destroyed?
Then what are we? We're alive and well here!
I said you're dead. You've just forgotten. You wanted to forget. You wanted to forget the crimes you committed and any inconvenient reality. But that can't be helped. People will gradually lose their memories as they head toward the path of death.
Hugh continued his explanation as if it were a matter of fact.
You are all ghosts. Nothing but mirages that are stuck in this intermediate world. Your existential thoughts support each other, allowing you to barely take shape. That's the truth.
The last whisper was directed at me. This is the truth? It can't be. I wasn't convinced. I couldn't accept it immediately. That I was actually dead. And that it also went for everyone here. The shouts grew louder, as if they were trying to drown out Hugh's voice.
It's the witch's doing!
Someone yelled it out. The shout suddenly stopped and everyone turned to the source.
You're a witch, right? That red eye is proof of that! You were in hiding, pretending to be a man!
Everyone's gaze gathered onto me with my right eye still glowing red. I didn't do anything, but I was born as the witch's daughter. That vision was that of my birth.
No! She's not a witch!
You all know too! How much we...
They tried to defend me, but the voices of confusion remained. It was only natural. Levon and Levi would have been even more surprised than I was. They just found out what their own mother did.
Kill her.
Yeah, if we kill the witch.
She's a witch. If she's gone...
A single statement spreads like wildfire.
No. Why?
Allies and enemies alike began to say the same thing one after another. Because we learn nothing. The scene that I just saw earlier with the dancing fire circled around in my mind.
No!
I tried to deny it, but one man jumped in front of me and grabbed my arm. And then... Gah! I was held down on the ground with a sword placed near my neck.
Don't move.
Lugus? I was held down and couldn't move. Why was he doing this?
Lugus! What are you doing?
Get away from Jed right now! Or else!
Seeing Levi taking up his sword, the people around him surrounded and stopped him. They must have been from the wolf faction. They were trying to restrain the two.
I caught the witch. Restrain those people too.
Yes, sir!
This time, the people of the Hawk clan responded to Lugus's voice. Even the people who were fighting as Algar's men were no exception. Oops. No. In the blink of an eye, they were all surrounded with swords pointed. Ashen, Hawk, and Hugh didn't even pretend to resist.
Master Lugus?
What?
Master Algar too?
Naturally. That man is the cause of this war in the first place.
Yes, sir! Excuse us!
Algar seemed to make a self-deprecating scoff as he quietly submitted. Anyone who could probably start the fight again were all restrained. Lugus then made a bold statement.
I, Lugus, will now become the Lord of the Hawk clan in place of Olgar. I promise to announce their sentencing to everyone.
The applause and cheers were scattered. Hooray. My arms were twisted by Lugus as he took me out of the room.
Lugus, why are you doing this?
No answer. He didn't even look at me. He pushed me from behind as we went up the stairs. There was a passage that went through the opening in the ceiling. We arrived at the dusty and muggy attic, where Francisca spent some time. There was a single candle that provided light. The window was small, and there were metal bars over it. The glass was extremely dirty, so I couldn't see what is outside. The trapdoor was closed, and I hear a muffled voice beyond it.
Your sentencing will be made known not long from now.
Lugus! It was like he was back to the old Lugus, the cold-hearted heir to the Hawks who didn't see others as fellow human beings. Was this really the same person who told me about that fairy tale at the church?
I will protect this town in my own way. This is the town my previous and current father wanted to protect. If it is for that, I will fight alongside you. If you or anyone else has to face Olgar, kill him without hesitation.
He told me to kill his father for the sake of the town. Now was he also going to kill me for the sake of the town? The footsteps moved further away. Soon, silence overcame me. I could only hear my own breath. In this dark and quiet space, I suddenly felt helpless and wrapped my arms around my knees. Too many things happened at once. I needed to gather my thoughts. Yes. Calm down. Calm down. I tried to force myself to calm down so that I wouldn't go insane. Olgar was my father, and my mother was gone. Francisca was the one who killed her. Ashen Hawk was already dead. I thought he was choking all along. He really was a ghost. He was dead, but he remained in this world. He was with me all along. This place was an intermediate world between life and death. The Psychedelica. Is it really? It all felt like a dream. I couldn't believe in it all of a sudden. On the other hand, what I saw felt to be the truth. Which was it? Did that happen in reality? Or was I in reality right now? This was reality. And then we're going to get to our final choice for this route after this. This is reality. I spoke it out loud. By doing so, it reaffirmed it as fact for me. It was all real. That's why I was here. I gripped my arms tighter to get a better sense of the shape of my body. I would accept everything first, whether it was a past that I hated or a reality I didn't want to see. I would think of all of it and consider what I needed to do next. Is there anything I can do while imprisoned? Did everyone else get caught like me? Everyone back there knew I was a witch now. It would soon be known throughout the town. When that happened, would I be executed? Would Lugus kill me for it? I heard someone's footsteps. It wasn't from beyond the door. It was right next to me. My face was buried into my legs, but I looked up. Ashen Hawk?
Hey there.
The tall man who was supposed to be imprisoned was standing before me.
Were you crying because you felt lonely?
I wasn't crying! Never mind that. How did you get here?
It's easy for me to do since I'm a ghost. I can disappear and appear as I wish.
I couldn't help but remember the sight of Ashen Hawk falling off the tower. You really are a ghost.
I already told you before. You should really listen sometimes.
It's your fault for acting so suspicious all the time. This was the usual exchange we had when we lived together. Whenever we opened our mouths, this conversation took place naturally. But this time, Ashen Hawk and I were both forcing it. I've always thought this.
What's that?
That maybe you're my real father, Ashen Hawk. I thought you were watching over me because you had your own reasons.
That's an overestimation. I had forgotten that I was a parent.
He was talking about Levon and Levi. Levon hated his father.
Chet, who are these two?
Phantom!
Back then, when I invited the two of them to the tower, what did Levon say to Ashen Hawk? This place is called the Psychedelica, right? Did you forget that's where we were? I avoided the question that felt too awkward to ask and asked him something else that was bothering me.
I had forgotten it all along.
Seems like Olgar forgot too.
Olgar wanted to forget what happened that day.
I just saw it earlier. So many people. My mother and Ashen Hawk had died.
I wanted to know how I died, and how I'm able to stay in this world despite being dead. And I remembered all that only a few moments ago.
Ashen Hawk, Are you here because the town has become the Psychedelica?
That's right. Olga activated the Kaleidovia, and my soul was brought back here. I'm like a ghost haunting the tower. This place is a closed world created by the conflicting wishes that Olga and I had.
His and Olgar's wish. Ashen Hawk wished for the four of them to be happy again. Olgar wished for his wife and himself to be happy, and neither came true.
I'm the cause of everything. The reason why Francisca committed those acts. The reason why I couldn't save Arya. And in the end, I couldn't stop Olga. I've trapped this whole town in a fantasy world with unending sadness.
His expression was filled with regret. It was as if he had the power to stop this terrible result, but didn't.
As a father, a husband, and a friend, I'm a terrible human being. My children, my wife, and my friend, they all despise me. It's natural, as I've done terrible things deserving of their scorn, and nothing for their forgiveness.
That's not true. Without thinking, I opened my mouth to speak. I'm gonna hold your hand just like this. I held Ashen Hawk's hand. It was as cold as ice, as if there was no blood running through it. I think I understand how you feel. At the very least, I don't hate you. I'm actually thankful to you, Ashen Hawk.
Chad.
Because you were with me, I was never lonely. It's all thanks to your kindness. So please don't say anything that would negate your own existence.
I didn't think I would receive such words, even after finding out the truth.
The days we spent together were real. That won't ever change. A smile finally came to Ashen Hawk's face. It was still a repressed and sad smile, but it was a smile nonetheless.
Thank you. I should be grateful for my good luck of meeting you as well.
You're exaggerating.
What I said was not meant to be in thanks, but... Let's run away from here. I want to help you escape.
Running away. I was sure Ashen Hawk would be able to do that. But what would happen to me if I did? What would Lugus or the townspeople think? A greater commotion might arise from their worries about how the witch escaped. But if I remained here, there was no telling when I would be executed. I will run away with this crazy ghost boy and see where the ending takes me. I wanted to run away. I didn't want to be judged as a witch, but even more so, I was worried about Ashen Hawk. If we parted ways now, I had the feeling we would never see each other again. I want you to take me with you. Ashen Hawk looked briefly surprised, but he soon gave a smile. Oh, interesting. Granting his wish.
So you will grant my wish. Thank you.
He held out his hand to me. I placed my hand over his, and he gripped tightly. His hand was cold as usual. Jed, you good? What was in that touch? Girl's like, whew, all flushed and stuff.
I will never let go.
I gripped him back, and he drew my hand toward him. He pulled me up and gently embraced me. Oh, hello. So, do I die here and become a ghost with you, or how does this work?
You don't need to desire change. We will watch them all from
Because it was so dark, I couldn't see Ashen Hawk's eyes, but I could tell that he was looking at me. I could feel the warmth within my body ebbing through his cold hand clenched around mine. What is this? It wasn't the first time we held hands, but this time... I couldn't gather my thoughts. It was like my head was in a haze.
What's the matter?
Sorry. My mind feels hazy.
It's all right. There is nothing to worry about. I shall guide you.
And a single kiss was placed over my right eye. A gentle, sweet, but cold kiss. Ashen Hawk's words put me at ease. At the same time, the haze over my mind grew even thicker. My vision started to blur, and I couldn't seem to focus on my surroundings. All of that tension I felt earlier seemed to have completely melted away. There was nothing around me. The only things moving in this world were Ashen Hawk and me. That was how it felt.
I will shield you until the snowfall stops. That is something I can do.
I didn't understand what he meant, but I nodded. Thank you? Sounds good.